Hi everyone, it's Ed here from Christchurch Beckenham and welcome to this week's CCB Kids on Sundays. Today we're going to be looking at some words that Jesus said as part of the Sermon on the Mount, where he said that we are called to be salt and light. Charlotte Gear is going to read those verses to us, but I just quickly wanted to tell you about what they mean for me and about how they fit into our Faith Over Fear series. When this little one was in hospital and the doctors would do their morning rounds and Charlotte or I would try and be there every day, I looked over at one of the nurses and she got her phone out to do a calculation. And her phone background was the words be and a little picture of a salt pot and a light bulb. Be, salt and light. What it did for me seeing those words on her phone was remind me that God is present in the middle of all those scary things and places. In the ICU, God was present in the form of this Christian doctor looking after our little baby. And it doesn't mean that things will always be okay. You know, Casey's still on oxygen and sometimes that does make us a bit afraid. But actually, the call of the Christian faith is to have strong faith, even in the middle of the scary stuff. Charlotte's going to bring those words to us now.
Salt and light. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled on by men. You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden, neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good deeds and the praise of your Father in heaven.
I don't know if you've ever thought about what Jesus meant when he said that we should be the salt of the earth and the light of the world. I like salt, especially on chips. Salt can enhance the flavour of food, but it also has so many other effects on things too. Jesus said that we as Christians are to be the salt of the world. There is no point adding salt that has lost its saltiness to food. Jesus says that we need to be full of flavour, different and ready to change things. Salt was also used to preserve food from spoiling because they didn't have fridges like we do now. Our role as followers of Jesus is to change the flavour of the world and to protect it and work against the things that want to spoil the earth. We've talked a lot about Jesus being the light of the world, but now Jesus tells us in these verses that we are the light of the world too. We need light to see and to help us and to keep us safe. I don't know about you, but if you've ever turned the light off and then crossed a room scattered with Lego from the day's playing, light keeps us safe. It shows us the way too. Jesus tells us that Christians are to be the light of the world wherever they find themselves. This means that they change things at school or at work by shining out God's presence in that place. That's so important when things are scary or hard. Both salt and light change things around them. Another way to think about how we can be in the world is that we could be like a thermometer. The Christian can read the news and work out the temperature of the world and then talk about it. Or we can be like a thermostat. You'll have one of these in your house, but you may have been told not to touch it. That's because the thermostat reads the temperature and then is able to change that temperature to the setting that you've put in it. The thermostat is just like salt and light. It changes things. And as a Christian, we should be like the thermostat, with the setting turned to God's temperature that He wants in the world. First, we have to read the temperature. We need to be present in the world and not disconnected from it. As Christians, we need to feel what other people are feeling. Secondly, we then need to know God's temperature setting. In some things, the world might be in a panic, and God is leading us to calmness, to slow things down. And in other things, God might be calling us to turn up the heat, to challenge injustice, or when something bad is happening. We learn God's temperature through reading the Bible, prayer, and friendship with God. And finally, we do something about it. We take Jesus' challenge to be different, to be full of flavour, and to light the way. God is calling us to act, to change the temperature to his setting.
Father God, for many of us, life has been different to how we expected it to be. Some of us have not been able to go to school or meet our friends. We may have missed activities we have been looking forward to. Sports day, school journey, plans we had made, and holidays with our families. Lord, you have taught us to be like salt that makes things taste better. Help us to be that salt. Sprinkle us where there is disappointment, that our friends will see and know that you are always with them when life is not as we planned.
We have many things to say thank you for. Our teachers who have worked hard to send things for us to do, our parents who have looked after us and helped us with our home learning, the different ways we have found to keep in touch, Zoom, FaceTime. As activities begin to restart, we look forward to being able to meet friends in the park or in our homes or back at school. Let us be your salt. Sprinkle us where our friends may be anxious or fearful of going back to new routines, that they will know you are always with them.
Lord Jesus, you ask us to be your light shining in the darkness. As we are challenged to learn new ways of doing things, help me to shine your light brightly in my words, and my actions help me to shine your light brightly in the way I behave. Help me to shine your light brightly so that all I do and say reflects the light and love of Jesus for my friends to see. Amen.
Amen.
Next week in our Faith Over Fear series, we're going to look at stories from the book of Acts after Pentecost and all that happened on that day. And if you want to keep worshipping today, visit our worship hub online